Buying a fixer-upper, is it worth it? My name is Paul Dunham, and we help people move in, out, and around of Northern Nevada. Contact us by using the pinned comment below. To keep up on the reality of real estate, be sure to like and subscribe. Are you dreaming of snagging up a bargain and then converting it into a gem? This is your ultimate guide of buying a fixer-upper. Picture this: a Northern Nevada flipper purchased a property for $450,000, fixed it up, and sold it for $615,000. Is there money to be made? Sometimes yes, but other times no. In this video, we'll go over the pros and cons of buying fixer-uppers in a 2025 market. We'll explore if this is the path to the golden ticket of homeownership or the trap of an endless money pit. Stick around to get the facts so you can make the right choices. In the local Northern Nevada market, median price is about $615,000. We're now up to about 3 to 4 months of inventory. Homes take about 39 to 46 days to sell, and about 10% of those homes do receive over asking price offers. That now points to a balanced market, where before a fixer-upper always created a frenzy. With today's high interest rates and high construction costs, there can often be opportunities in fixer-uppers. But with the wrong planning, it can turn into a real mess. So what do we consider a fixer-upper? Generally, we would consider it anything below average the neighboring properties. So it's not always about just the house. It's where the house lies in the neighborhood and how it compares to the rest of the neighborhood. If there's a home that clearly needs some work and it's surrounded by really nice, well cared for homes, it's pretty obvious there's a fixer-upper opportunity. But jump to another neighborhood, say a home that was built in the 50s, and the entire street needs some work, there may not be as much opportunity. Then you may accidentally over-improve the property and could even end up upside down. Fixer-uppers end up in all price ranges. So it's not so much a specific price point as it is that price compared to the neighbors. Often you'll see fixer-uppers in the 400s and 500s, but you might even see them in the 7s and 800s if the neighbors are in the $1 million range. So it's not so much the price point as it is how discounted it is compared to the neighbors. Where's the most common place to find opportunity? Aging homes. Deferred maintenance is one of the biggest things of a property's value. So as a home ages, if not taken care of, it can devalue the property. So homes built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you often find more selection because sometimes sellers haven't kept up on the maintenance. Or say if you go to a property such as Ringfield Springs, unless the homeowner damaged the property, usually those homes still have a lot of lifespan ahead of them. So I consider a fixer-upper. There's often opportunity. With the age, a lot of times the taxes can be lower, and there's more ability to customize the home for you to live in, or if you're looking at it for an investment, a way to improve the property, to attract a renter to pay higher rents, or even buy, then sell the property for a profit. And the purchase price is going to be lower because there's work to be done. And once it's fixed up, buyers and renters flock to rehab properties. The newness, the new material, and customization can really set you apart from the other homes on the market. Or if you're going to move in, having that ability to fully customize to your liking. But it's not all rosy. Renovation costs can get really out of control, especially in this marketplace. Owners that don't have a lot of experience and need to outsource all of the work, rehab costs can get very expensive. $50,000, $100,000, $130,000. The repair costs can get wildly out of control and actually make you upside down on your purchase. Back to that first example. What if you paid $450,000 for a house, sold it for $615,000, but by the time you did the repairs, bought the material, and your closing costs, you were actually upside down? $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, even $50,000. Rehabbing is not for everybody. Let's break apart the pros and cons, starting with the pros. First pro, lower purchase price. Fixer-uppers are going to be substantially lower than the neighboring properties, often 10, 20, 25% below the neighboring properties. Second pro, customization potential. You get to make the home however you want. You're not limited by master plan communities, limited choice like new construction has. You can really separate yourself from your neighbors. So maybe you don't have the money to build a ground up custom home, but buying one that needs work and then rehabbing it can save you substantial costs compared to building new, so long as you get that home for the right price. And when that day comes to sell, buyers really appreciate that custom touch that sets you apart from the corporate new build world. Pro number 3, when done right, there's an investment opportunity. Correct purchasing, correct spending on rehabs can create an ROI. If you do it yourself, this is where the term sweat equity comes from. Being able to improve a property at a fraction of retail because you're doing it yourself. Now make sure you understand your local guidelines and what you're allowed to do as a homeowner and what contractors are required to do. There's different guidelines based on you living in the property, a renter living in the property, or for the purpose of flipping. So make sure you research your city and county guidelines. Let's jump into the cons of buying a fixer-upper. First con, high renovation costs. One of the biggest ways house flippers and investors fail in buying fixer-uppers is misjudging the rehabilitation costs. What I've learned when helping people flip homes, it's not so much as the purchase as it is the renovation cost. The lower you can get the renovation costs, the more opportunity there is in the home. So if you've misjudged your renovation costs and you're having to hire contractors to help you, often all these profits that you're looking to gain goes to the contractors instead with their retail markups. So use caution on fixer-uppers. Really understand your renovation costs. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're taking on a lot of risk. And it might make sense just to buy a more expensive property that's already done for you. This is one of the biggest cons of buying a fixer-upper, is the lack of understanding of renovation costs. Con number 2, surprises. So it kind of overlaps renovation costs, but this is why it's so crucial to get thorough inspections top to bottom on a fixer-upper so that you can accurately predict how much renovation there's going to be. This is where the risk comes in on properties on, say, the courthouse steps, auction properties, where you don't get to learn the condition. You can have some real surprises. Maybe you thought the furnace was fine and it needs replaced. Maybe you thought the roof was fine and you found out it totally failed. Maybe the sewer line is collapsed. Now, in the open market, you can overcome a lot of these through inspections, but tax sales, foreclosure sales, probate auctions, you won't get to research the condition of the home, and that comes with risk. So make sure if you don't get a chance to do your due diligence, add in some cushion when it comes time to purchase so that you can be prepared for surprises. This can affect time, this can affect money. It can take longer to overcome a surprise that wasn't planned on, and then cost you a lot more as well, eating up the benefits of buying a fixer-upper. So is a fixer-upper worth it? Here's some tips to decide. First and most important, get a home inspection and get the expanded inspections if needed. Sewer line, heater, roof, radon. Make sure you totally understand the home's condition. If you don't, or you're not able to inspect it, you take on a lot of risks. Make sure and calculate that risk inside of your initial purchase. But you will learn so much from inspecting the home that will help you have a good understanding of the rehab costs ahead. Tip 2, budget realistically. Don't overpay for a property so that you lose the opportunity in rehab costs. But also don't think just because it's a fixer-upper that everything is worth nothing. I do see often where flippers will offer too low on a property, not get it, and then somebody else in the market does successfully buy it. And a property's worth what a buyer's willing to pay. So it means that that aggressive offer was wrong. You will not succeed in buying fixer-uppers if you get the price too high, but also if you get the price too low. Third tip, know your market and timeline. If you're going to move into the home, timeline doesn't matter because you're going to live there long enough to ride out different markets. But if you're going to rent, if you're going to resell it, understand the market. How long does it take for a rental property to rent? How long does it take for a home to sell after it hits the market? Understand those timelines, because if you take too long, you might be entering a different market, and that comes with a set of risks. Maybe the market went down since you bought the house. Maybe construction costs went up since you bought the house. Interest rates may have changed substantially along the way. So understand your timeline, because the longer you take, the more risk you incur with market changes. Use this as a guide for fixer-upper properties in 2025. There's some great benefit, but it also comes with great risk. Make sure you understand renovation and rehab before ever considering a fixer-upper property. Make sure you weigh in your budget and timeline and make sure all of this makes sense for you. In this market, smart choices lead to big wins.